Lots of Christians say that this flood was only a local flood. What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, most people who believe in millions of years believe it was a local flood. And so let's just check the logic out, see if it makes any sense for a local flood. Why would Noah build this massive ocean liner, right, for a local flood? Why not just migrate to higher ground? For example, recently an Arctic fox was fitted with a satellite collar, and the researchers couldn't believe the incredible distance that it travelled from, it was from Norway to Canada over the ice in 4 months, 4,400 kilometres, which is about 2,700 miles. So incredible distance by one little fox over that time. Also, if you go back into history and you look at the pioneers that travelled across from the east coast to the west coast in their covered wagons, well, a lot of people, by the way, will walk next to the wagons because it was too uncomfortable in the wagon. So with these examples of people being able to walk so far in just a few months, why would Noah build this massive ark, and spend 100 years perhaps building this ark when he just needed to walk to higher ground? Why would the birds go on board? They could easily fly to safety, couldn't they? And not only that, the Bible says very clearly God said he would never flood the world again. And he actually labours that quite a bit, saying he gave a covenant to Noah that he would never flood the world again. And so if it was a local flood, God's broken his promise hundreds and hundreds of times, hasn't he? But you see, it wasn't a local flood. It was a worldwide flood. So the Bible tells us all the pre-flood mountains were covered in water. All mankind died. Every land-dwelling, herb-breathing animal, bird-creeping thing died. In fact, every living substance on the face of the land, the Bible says, was just wiped off. Only Noah was alive and those with him in the ark. And the ark floated for an incredible 150 days before coming to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And then, of course, many months later, Noah sent out the dove the second time, came back with the olive leaf, because all the vegetation had to regrow, and of course everything had to dry out. And eventually, after 371 days, God told Noah to leave the ark. Does that sound like a local flood to you? 371 days?
Not really.
Certainly not, is it? Yeah. And so there's really nobody needs to ever believe in a local flood. They're really, what's happening here is very clear. They're taking information from outside of the Bible, they're applying it to the Bible, that the world is millions of years old, so they have to come up with this compromise of a local flood. It's not true. It was definitely a worldwide flood.
Okay. We actually have a book that answers 60 of these questions, a lot to do with the ark and the flood, the age of the earth. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, it's the Answers book, really. And I think the Answers book, apart from the Creation magazine, is the best book that anybody can get because, like you say, it's got 60 of the most asked questions. So any of the things dealing with the flood are all covered in this book. And I find that, to me, it was very helpful, especially early in the stages when I started to go out, giving talks on Noah's Ark. In fact, this is a go-to book for anybody, I think, to really understand the arguments, such as the flood and the fossils and the strata, plate tectonics, etc., and how animals got to various parts of the world and populations and things like that. So many good answers in this book.
And Rod, we're actually going to give viewers a free ebook. The link will be below in the description. Rod, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Jess.